in at the moment. Fermanagh is one of the places where unionists are feeling uneasy about the security risks now attached to community policing. The army is long gone and some police stations have closed. The problem is, people there tell us the dissident threat has made police less accessible. When robbers ripped out this cash machine in Newton Butler, police were immediately alerted by a resident.
I had rang the police and they kept me holding on to tell them what was happening. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, it was broad daylight.
The fire brigade arrived within minutes, but 12 hours would pass before police felt it was safe to turn up.
Now that caused an awful lot of aggro in the town, on both sides of the community, because we had no protection, and they showed us that we weren't going to get protection.
A rising dissident threat has made it increasingly difficult for police to answer call-outs in South Fermanagh over the past year.
For the last 3-4 years in particular, we had community police to delegate to our town, and we had great support from them, and people has accepted them, that went into estates where they've never been into before. So if we had any complaints in the town, we would always relay it to the community police, but we had nobody to relate anything to.
Residents say it's a similar story in nearby Rosslea. Harold Andrews is an Ulster Unionist councillor. He and his wife Esther brought up their family there during the Troubles.
Unfortunately, in the area, community policing is, as far as I'm concerned, particularly in Rosslea and Newton Butler, is non-existent. Unfortunately, with the recent attack there last year on the police in Lisnaskey, a rocket attack, they've had to curtail the community policing.
But we still feel isolated, and now we've lost the police station, and there's no army, and there's no police, so if anything happens, you really feel vulnerable.
Over the last year, several bomb attempts have failed in the Rosslea area, and bomb alerts are unrelenting. DUP MLA Arlene Foster says it all creates uncertainty.
Feeling of fear, feeling of isolation, and because of the fact that the resources are so tight, especially for those communities who live right along the border, don't see too many police officers, therefore they feel that they're on their own, and when the threat is very much there.
A Protestant living in this border area has told us that police are so concerned about the threat, they rang to ask him to check out if a car accident was genuine or a trap, putting him at risk.
That's entirely inappropriate in my mind, and it's not an organisational policy. It's for the police to attend to policing matters. If we have a concern about a call, it's then for us to decide how to deal with that appropriately. It's not appropriate to ask the public to step up and put themselves at risk. If we have a concern, then it's for the police to deal with that, and I wouldn't encourage it. It's not an organisational policy, and it shouldn't be done.
Harold Andrews says local unionists feel no-go areas are developing.
Perception is that Newton Butler, Rosslea areas is sort of a no-go area for police. I'm sure that is the case as far as some people are concerned, but the senior police, they deny that. And they state that they do police the area, but not to the way they would like themselves.
I was talking to one of my constituents a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying, well, to be honest, Arlene, if something happened of a minor nature, we really don't call the police anymore because we don't want to call them into problems, into a possible attack or whatever. So that, I think, speaks volumes.
While there may not be no-go areas, Fermanagh officers have told us there are places which are often off limits for weeks at a time. Joyce warns about going back to a heavy-handed or military response, but the creeping dissident activity also means she can't have the community policing she wants.
Well, I don't see any dissident threat, and sometimes I think it's an excuse that they won't come out to us. Whether they're making an excuse for that or whether they're making an excuse with no manpower, I just honestly don't know.
For Esther, community policing means visible policing. The dissident threat makes that a distant goal.
For our people to have confidence, there's a need for them to be seen stopping cars and driving about and being available and amenable to the people that if they want to ask them something or they at least want to see them around.
The apparent incompatibility between community policing and the dissident threat has also surfaced in Craigavon. In March, Stephen Carroll was murdered here when he responded to a vandalism call. Matt Thompson, a former community worker, lives nearby in the Ardone estate.
It's not too far from where we're standing here at this minute, where the planes, I think it was back in March, answered a routine call, and it ended up in the death of PC Carroll. So there's a reluctance of the police to come in to the area and do any sort of normal policing, because they do come in and they're heavily armed, and it's not a sort of a community policing that the people do require. But we do need a police service. We do need a police force. Everyone needs a police force.
The Stephen Carroll murder has had a clear impact on local policing.
It was a few weeks ago now, and there was a lady lives in the area here, and it was the weekend. I think it was just a drunk or something going past and decided to smash a window. And she informed the police, but it was well into the next day before the police came out. You know, and can you fault them? You really can't. You know, and some younger people were saying, look at the way they're getting out, and they had guns pointed, and I just said, well, look what happened a few months ago when they came down to a call for a broken window.
The Kilwilgie estate on the north side of Lurgan has been a hotbed of dissident-inspired rioting. Harry is a former policeman who worked in Lurgan.
It's hardcore there. It's the type of place where if an officer goes, he always knows there's always going to be that element of very hardcore, dedicated opposition. It's just one of those places where you never drop your guard. No matter, even in better times, you generally don't drop your guard when you're in a place like that.
It is tough, and many people are frightened and are frightened to be seen directly talking to the police. People are living under threat here and are more frightened from the enemy within than from actually wanting to work with the police service.
It's here that Nationalist residents have asked for a low-key response to recent outbreaks of rioting.
Whenever there were people running about brandishing guns, people in this community actually phoned up and said they didn't want the police to come down because the only reason that they were looking the police down was actually to attack them and to throw petrol bombs.
One of the key areas is Lurgan, where they have successfully mounted or fomented riots which have brought the police in. But the police are aware of this and they handle the riots quite well. They don't fall into the trap of firing hundreds of plastic bullets and getting involved in the sort of tactics that the RUC used. They haven't been falling for the old trap that the IRA was able to set for them.